Hey guys, still here and welcome back to Ultimate Admiral Dreadnoughts. Today I have some good news and I have some bad news. The good news is the spy has returned. The bad news is the spy has returned. Now, in case you have no idea what I'm talking about, this is the third iteration of the spy scenario. And the spy scenario started with a German engineer which invaded the Russian fleet. And when he did so, he was able to start sabotaging the design efforts for the Russian Navy. He then was able to build ships which were pretty quickly supposed to be sent to the bottom by the German fleet, but it turned out that the Russian admiral commanding those forces, even though the ships were very subpar, actually won the fight. He then came back and did it again, but this time around, it's a bit different. Now, before I kick off the scenario, I want to pay a little bit of attention to who sent it in. That's Tristan Z. I want to do something nice for Tristan, because he wrote to me saying that he's going to go off to Navy boot camp in a week. And I want to wish him luck, and I want to wish him luck with all of you. Because I imagine that Navy boot camp is going to be really tough. I, at some point, wanted to join the Navy back back a long time. Back 14 years ago. Didn't get in, but that's a whole different story. So I'm in some extent jealous of Tristan, and what I would like you guys to do is just wish him well down below in the comment section. Just write a few nice words for a random stranger on the internet who has brought you the spy scenario. And if you have gone through Navy boot camp or any of the other boot camps from the other departments, please give just one tip in the comment section, because maybe it'll help him out or maybe somebody else who at some point watches this video and reads the comment section. So, big thanks to Tristan Z for the third round of the Russian spy. The story is as follows. After accidentally designing such successful ships for the Russian fleet, the German spy has been recalled to design ships for the German fleet. But now he has turned. He will design purposely bad German battleships to fight the Russians. He has even started out by insisting that they double as peacetime cargo ships, thus demanding 20% of the displacement must not be used. Due to the success of previous designs, they'll even send them out with near even odds. Which means that I have 4 battleships versus the Russian 3, but they also get a battlecruiser and a tech advantage on top of that. So they're 5 years ahead of me. We have a starting range of 20,000 meters. And I am tasked with building a battleship that saves 20% of its displacement as a cargo ship. Now, if you want to have extra space on a cargo ship, then arguably using a super battleship would give you a ton of space. However, it's also a hell of an investment to build a ship like that. So I'm going to go with a more modern battleship, a smaller ship. And that should still give me plenty of room to work around with. I have to be very, very careful in more ways than one to make this ship as bad as I can. It has to be, well, it's sabotaged in a way. It's a design that's purposely terrible. So I'm going to have to make sure that this ship performs poorly. Now, since this thing doubles as a cargo ship, I'm going to set the range to very long. And I'm going to set it to many bulkheads. Not all of them, because, hey, it's a cargo ship. The bulkheads will just get in the way. Now, let's for engines go with, I don't know, just standard steam turbines. It's half battleship, half cargo ship. And then we're going to power it by oil, because that means I get a lot, less fuel stowage? Or it takes less weight? At any rate, this should not make the ship this should make the ship go farther. Ideally, I would be going with diesel engines, but unfortunately, I don't have those researched. That is apparently a tech that is slightly later than 1930. Now, an auxiliary engine might come in handy, as we also double as a cargo ship, so maybe one of these things is gonna, I don't know, propel a bow thruster or whatever. Those things were even invented in that time. And since we're cruising over longer ranges, a advanced propeller shaft 1. Okay, that's a good start. Let's get a main tower installed. you cannot really do that much creative stuff with a modern Tower 1 and a modern Tower 2 or a secondary tower. But you know what? I'm going to keep this massive space open here so that we have access to below decks. Because that's where the cargo needs to go, right? So I need to make sure that that is open. Now we're going to go with an Uber Funnel 3. That should more than suffice. No, not even. It's because I'm using natural boilers. Whatever, it's supposed to be a battleship. Who needs all this engine efficiency? We don't need a lot of torque at high RPM, right? I mean, this is fine. This will do. Alright, armor then. It is 1930s. The Germans are not stupid. But maybe I can convince them that since they are used, or they are supposed to be used in peacetime, you don't really need Group 4 armor, as you'd just be spending a hell of a lot of money on that. So let's go for Group 2. Oh, sorry, Group 3 armor. Barbettes, the standard thickness will suffice. Anti-torpedo blister. Yeah, you cannot have your torpedoes take away your cargo. So let's do a bit of that. Double hull should be enough. Triple hull will just make the ship unnecessarily heavy, which is not really something you want for a cargo ship. And then bulkheads, yeah, why not? Reinforced bulkheads will make sure that the ship performs better in battle, and at the same time keep the cargo safe. Anti-flooding, yes, this is very important. I need to make sure the cargo stays dry. I'm not sure if I'm designing a cargo ship or a battleship, but whatever. As for armor... turtleback. Very German indeed. Now, the thing is, I need to make sure that 20% stays dry. Or sorry, 20% of the displacement remains unused. Which means that out of 69, let's say 70,000 tons, I can only use 56,000. The rest of it is supposed to be used by cargo. So I gotta be quite careful not to go over 56,000. Guns. Centerline guns, and let's go with a 15-inch quad. And then another 15-inch quad. Normally, the Germans would go with 2 dual-barrel turrets. That's usually what you see. Scharnhorst accepted, or is the exception, because it usually, or I believe it sported 3 triples. But hey, this saves weight and makes it so that I don't have to add another turret here or there. It just makes it a bit easier. A height offset? Maybe a problem. Good lord, look at that pitch. 14. What's my pitch now? Only 6.3. This thing is gonna heave up and down the waves like crazy. Which means that the base accuracy penalty from 16, or from just standard sea waves, is gonna be 16%. But hey, the spy convinced the German shipbuilders to do this, so they decided, you know what, let's do it. There are also rumors of heavy cruisers and other smaller ships on the horizon. So, a couple of turrets here will do. A couple of triple 6 barrels. And do I need some smaller guns? You know what? No. I actually heard that 6-gun singular are all the rage. Because German guns are so good, they only really need to fire once or twice. So, a single barrel will do. The rest is just show off. And the rest of that can be used for cargo. So why the hell not? A radar is handy. A radio is also quite useful to let people know when you're arriving with their precious cargo. And stereoscopic rangefinder or coincidence rangefinders, I mean, they're handy. But at the same time, if somebody sees something like this coming at them, aren't they just going to run in fear of the German Empire anyway? Do I really need any kind of great rangefinder, or is that more of an afterthought? Let's go with a Stereo 3. The problem is I cannot quite build this ship. Because I'm supposed to stay under 56,000 tons, under that 20% margin. So that will mean that I'm going to have to save somewhere. And I think the best place to save is on armor. There we go. We now have an armor belt of 10-inch, 15-inch on the turret, 11-inch on the conning tower, an armor quality of 100% boost, and that puts us just underneath the weight displacement of 56,000 tons. There is a bit of an offset. And I'm not sure if... Oh, wow. I didn't know that those things stick to the main tower. I'm not sure if I can fix that. I'm not even sure if I should. There we go. That should do it. No problem. 0.7% weight offset. Good enough. Now, all these fancy pants gimmicks of reload boosts and hydraulic turrets... Nah. Not really. Also, if we go for light shells, maybe... that's enough, because then I don't really have to carry too many of them. Speaking of, I mean, I'm a cargo ship. I'm going to reduce the amount of shells that I carry. And as for propellant, lyddite, white powder. Let's go with cordite for a change. Although, hold on, high TNT is lighter, giving me even more displacement for cargo. That might allow enhanced reloaders. Nope, it's too heavy. The enhanced reload does push your reload time down by 10%. And that means my reload on these quads is 60 seconds exactly. Which I think is good enough. But we're now too heavy. Now, all these turrets don't really need this much armor. So let's stick with this. And reduce the armor on the secondary some. There we go. 5.4. And I'm exactly 56,000 tons. Now, they're pretty expensive, 86 million per battleship, but hey, you know what? It's a battleship, but also a cargo liner. So we're basically buying 2 ships for the price of 1. Except that this is a pretty heavily armored and armed merchantman of sorts. This is the Württemberg class, and we are now going to put her to the test. Now, let's see what the Russians created, because they are no longer getting sabotaged. And that means that they might actually have some half-decent ships. We already have the battleship. That's quite a lot of firepower there. And immediately all the battleships that I have open up. And it looks pretty good. That looks pretty damn good. That's 4 turrets of 4 barrels each. And they're all lighting up the target. They do look a little derpy, but that just comes with the territory of being a quad barrel ship. Now, let's have the look at the heavy cruisers that I'm working with. The heavy cruisers are the Seydlitz and the Blücher. We have few bulkheads, and no, you're not going to follow, you're going to screen. And you are also going to screen. You need to do this with a right click, don't you? Yeah. There. Screen. And screen. Correct? Yeah. Light cruisers, Breslau and Hamburg. Many bulkheads, 6-inch guns. Seems like they're not making the best use of all this deck space. But nevertheless, they do come with 15 6-inch guns. A bunch of 3s and a few 2s. The heavy cruisers, they have some torpedo tubes, they have some 9-inch guns, pretty standard setup, and a couple of 2-inch. And that is all. Now, as a proud German fleet, we're going to go line abreast, and we're going to push in. I'm going to slow down a bit, make sure that the rest of the fleet is able to come alongside, and then let's see if we can push into the Russians at all. Now, the Russian battleship is moving away, but we do have an inbound cruiser of some make and model. I'm not exactly sure what I'm looking at yet. This turret has a lot of clearance around it. That's really nice design. Oh, I'm taking damage already? Jesus. What hit you? 16-inch. Okay. Jesus. This is the Russian battleship. They have only 3, but that's 16 barrels of, I'd say, at least 14-inch. No, 16-inch. 16-inch turrets. Barrels. Guns, whatever. This is probably a light cruiser. Look at the distance between these 2 turrets. It's Like the AI was desperate to try and balance the ship out. Let's see. Baden might have a bit of a bad day, because she is not really well armored. It goes right through the deck, which I didn't change anything about. But apparently 6 inches of armor is not quite sufficient. Alright, we got Württemberg steaming up on the port side, Fritjof on the starboard side, and the Friedrich der Große on the port side as well, which is about to run into the Breslau. Well done. Amateur hour this. Come on. There we go. She's turning out. Baden has taken another hit. The spy has really outdone himself this time around, building a terrible ship. My accuracy is 0.7? Hold on a minute. And that's what we're fighting a very mobile cruiser? Yeah, no shit. This thing is going to be so inaccurate. Let's try fighting the battleships instead. Because I think that we might find a little better success at trying to hit something over there. Another salvo flies out to the cruiser but does absolutely nothing. All turrets are reloading. Look at the incoming volume of fire on Baden. That is not great. But she bounced most of the stuff. That's nice. Did we get any hits? No? Oh, with a 3% chance to hit, I'm not really surprised. The light cruisers are trying to stay in a screening formation, but it looks like they're not quite leaping out ahead yet, despite doing 36 knots. The heavy cruisers, I'm not even too sure what the hell they're doing. They're supposed to be screening for the battleships, but I'm not seeing it. Despite the battleships moving about at only 23 knots. Or something close to that. Oh, we've done damage? Really? Did we scratch one of their battleships a little? Tickle it, maybe? Or was it a heavy cruiser? No, it was not a heavy cruiser. What did we hit? You? No, no, yes. You did a damaging hit of 63. Probably a battleship then, because a heavy cruiser would ideally take more damage than just 63 points. Ah, those must be the 6-inch guns. Or no, actually, that's the cruisers. That's the heavy cruisers, which are trying to fight against the other cruiser. Another big salvo against the Baden, which takes another decent chunk out of her structural integrity. Alright, we got Württemberg, Baden, and Fritjof lined up. Friedrich is still limping. She's doing full speed, but these others just refuse to slow down at all. What's my range? About 14. We have the Pallada. And the Pallada is a ship with standard complement of bulkheads, 9-inch guns, which reload in 14.5 seconds. And she carries torpedo tubes, which can hit me at a kilometer of 15 out from the target. Great. Battleships unknown. Light cruisers have already been identified. That's curious. Usually it's the bigger ships that get identified first. They also carry torpedo tubes and 6-inch guns. It looks like it's no longer just the Baden which is taking fire, but also Württemberg. Which... Where are you going, Württemberg? Are you trying to take cover behind the Baden? I don't quite get it. The Hamburg, very brazenly just charging into the enemy fleet. Respectfully, but I don't really think that the 6-inch guns on that ship are going to do terrible amounts of damage against a cruiser like that. 1 point of damage against the Rotislav, which carries a 16 battery of 16-inch guns. Standard complement of bulkheads, pretty good speed, and, well, a healthy amount of armor. It's not necessarily overpowered in armor sense, because I can pen this ship. The problem is probably hitting the damn ship. Because it's probably considered, yeah, target fast speed. The ship is too fast. Okay. Right. What is Württemberg doing? And what is Der Grosse doing? Guys. What the hell? Line up... And Fritjof too, by the way. Line abreast means line yourself up alongside the other ships. Tight formation. They're not even allowed to make a lot of movement. Let's switch it to normal. Looks like the spy might have also been able to affect the formation driving ability of the Germans. Incoming torpedo. Let's evade that. Gotta keep the cargo dry. I have 12 torpedoes ranging 12-3. Which puts me outside of the torpedo range of the cruiser. So I cannot torp the cruiser. But the Blücher might not need to torpedo anything because she'll be dead soon. She has 3 flooded compartments. I wonder if she can come back from this one. 20, 19. She's fighting it. Can she win that fight? A few bulkheads. Are you a cargo ship too? Side leads also takes a large chunk of damage, but avoids getting flooded. For now. Side lead seems to be turning over hard to starboard, trying to get the fire out by simply going a couple of waves over it. For those of you watching this Ultimate Admiral video as one of the first videos that you see on the game, no, that's not a mechanic. You cannot just hold your ship over to one side or the other and hope that that turns out or puts out the fire. That's not how that works. Battlecruiser Rostov has also been identified. That's 12 15-inch barrels. Couple of 4s. This is another one of those imbalanced ships. I also saw this in another build that the AI did. Oh, sorry, never mind, not this one. No, never mind. I have seen one of the builds of the AI where it builds a turret on one side, but not the other. I'm not sure why it does / does not do that. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Good lord, look at the damage on these turrets. Is that thing even operational? It doesn't say it's damaged, but that looks properly destroyed. Look at that. Now apparently, the whole build philosophy of they see a quad turret, they see me rolling, they run, that didn't quite pan out for the Germans. So, whoever designed these battleships, we're gonna have to have a chat with them. Because I'm thinking it doesn't quite work out as well as I'd hoped. It's like these German ships don't really have that fear factor that naval designer actually promised. What's that about? What is that about? At least I haven't lost a ship. Which, considering that I'm just charging into the enemy fleet, is actually pretty impressive. And I'm not even managing my heavy cruisers. I just told them to go screen, and they sort of do. We're just doing almost no damage against those battleships. We also got the Archangel Mikhail over there. Hit chance 2%. Oh, now we're getting some damage in. And it looks like the heavy cruisers are also doing their level best to do some damage. They've scored 10 hits and done 34 damage. Yeah. I think that is not really going to be the main source of our damage. By contrast, the Russians have already inflicted 1900 points of damage versus only a 212 that we have done. So we're probably not going to be sinking any ships of the Russians anytime soon. Look at that. It's a lot of incoming shells here. It's still not one of my battleships. It has to be the heavy cruisers which keep throwing shells at the Neutron Mania. Is that really a Russian ship name? What is that? What is the Neutron Mania? It's the first time I'm seeing this ship name in the fleet. Now another fire has been started on the Neutron, but I doubt that that's going to do much. Uh-oh. More flooding on the bottom. It does, however, look like the flooding is not really going to cause that many issues. Another flooding. Come on. Make an effort. Actually do some damage. Chance to pen. 49.9. Oh, sorry, 45.9. Not great. Rostislav has taken some damage, but none of it's critical. Nothing has really been destroyed. No turrets have been messed up. They're not even yellow yet. So it's not like those things are probably going to take any kind of structural damage anytime soon. Oh, hold on. Incoming torpedoes here. Turn my cargo battleship around. We can have the light cruiser smoke up again. They have done a whole 4 points of damage, and that's rounded up. After trying to hit 249 times. And now the Breslau is just doing loops. It's just doing circles. Which means that it's turning so fast that none of these turrets have an actual chance to fire. Look at this guy go. Oh, that sounded like a torpedo impact. Ooh. That could be pretty serious. What kind of torpedoes do those heavy cruisers carry? 22 inch. Okay. I guess Baden is no longer leading this division. But the question is then, who is? It's the Württemberg. Okay. The Württemberg, which with 15-inch guns has done 96 points of damage. Jesus. Fritjof, 202. Baden has done 10? 10 points of damage done by the Baden. And the Friedrich der Große has done 58. Now see, for this guy I understand, because if you're coming from World of Warships, it is very unusual to see a Friedrich der Große actually inflict any kind of reliable damage. Because they are usually sniping in the back, and they usually don't hit anything. At least mine didn't back in the day when I played that. Oh, there goes the Hamburg. You got hit by a torpedo, no less. Well, in one way, you could argue that the screening force was successful. They screened the battleship against the torpedo. So I call this a great success. It looks like none of those 6-inch guns have actually opened up yet. The Germans are just not getting close enough to the Russians to get any kind of opportunity to do damage. Rostislav is flooding. Anti-flood 3. So that probably won't be too much of an issue. Come on, gentlemen. Make an effort and do some damage. And don't blame the ship designer, because I don't think that he's in the wrong. I think it's just the way that these ships are captained. And also because if they execute the ship designer, there won't be a 4th spy scenario. Look at the incoming volume of fire from this heavy cruiser. It scored 55 hits, but done only 100 points of damage. And it's already running relatively low on ammunition. That's with a standard complement of shells, a Generation 2 radar, and a Stereo 4 rangefinder. Extensive fire. Oh, you got hit by a 16-inch gun. Yeah. Well, again, they have been screening the battleships, because it means that if the battleships are fighting up or shooting up the light cruisers, then they're not actually shooting up my battleships. So in a way, once again, the screening command really worked. First, it took a torpedo, and then it took a 16-inch shell, meaning that the battleship gets to live just a little longer. How much longer exactly? That remains to be seen. Württemberg taking another salvo right to the face, causing flooding and fires. So far, it seems like the turrets are holding up, but I wonder how long that's going to stay that way. 14.5 inches of armor, plus 100%, so that's effectively 28. Meaning that if I get the battleship at a range of 12,500 meters or fewer, there is a chance that they'll penetrate turrets. And I'm getting really close already to that marker, because I'm at 12.8. Maybe we should just try and wipe out some of the lighter ships first. Let's see if that'll work. More fire and flooding. Precious cargo's taking some serious damage here. Ah, the 6-inch guns are finally doing their bidding. So far as we're going to have 6-inch guns. Yep. Shooting up the place. Now, again, I was promised by the ship designer that the 6-inch guns would be so intimidating and so accurate, because German engineering, that they would very quickly put down the enemy cruisers. But it looks like this cruiser does not really give two shits about that. It's like we've been lied to. These ships are nowhere near performing what we were promised they would. The Friedrich der Größe, yep, confirmed, it's sniping from the back, as they do. It's not as bad as the Baden, but at least the Baden has been shot up pretty bad. Are you even still fighting? Okay, you are. But your top speed is a mere 14 knots. Now it's Württemberg's turn to get her ass blown up. When this fleet returns home, we need to have a serious chat with the designer of these ships. But see, there's the catch. Because I don't think that any of these ships will make it home. So there will be nobody left to talk to the developer of this ship. And that means that once again, the spy gets away with it. 12,000 points of damage taken. Damage dealt, 868-ish. And counting. 872. Most of which is 15-inch guns. Makes sense. Some of it is actually 9-inch gunfire. So that's the cruisers. And there's another torpedo. I think that the light cruisers are... yeah, they're out of torpedoes. The heavy cruisers are also out of torpedoes? Really? So the one time that I have a scenario where I'm actually facing torpedoes that I sort of want to run into, the AI runs out. That is some pretty interesting luck. Normally, I try and make a brawler. I push in. I go aggressive. I go heavy on armor-ish. I go pretty heavy on speed, decent firepower, torpedoes, rush in, torp everything. And I usually get torped in the process. This time around, the AI, well, they're more or less supposed to kill off all these ships. They're not really doing it. Sure enough, Württemberg and Baden have taken serious damage, but I still have Fritjof at almost full health, and Friedrich at full health. And the AI runs out of torpedoes. The 8-inch guns even ran out of ammo. What? One dual turret. Standard complement of shells. Are you kidding? The heavy cruiser here, the Pallada, is also running a little low on shells. And so low, in fact, that she refuses to fire. Rostislav is about to fire her last salvos. And same for the Admiral Seniavin. She also has very few 8-inch guns left. Or 8-inch shells. Well, 8-inch guns as well, but that's more down to the amount of turrets that she has. Now, despite everything, we still have not sunk any of the light cruisers or heavy cruisers. The Pallada, the Archangel, and even the battle cruiser They're still just sitting out there. And consistently doing damage. At which point, they have done 10 times more damage to me than I have done to them. Where's the Friedrich? Where's that sniping bastard in the back? You. Like a good division mate from World of Warships, or a good teammate rather, because I never division up with a Friedrich der Große. About the time where most of the team is dead, this is your moment to shine. This is when you start to push in and get absolutely hammered by the rest of the fleet. Or rather, the enemy team. I'm also looking at the ammo count for my own ships, which is not stellar either. I have 156 shells for the 15-inch guns. I doubt I'm going to go through all those before the ship sinks, but here's to trying. Württemberg, 2 damaged engines. Baden, 1 damaged engine. And Fritjof, damaged engine and a damaged rudder. Although it is more or less functional because I can once again use it. 104 shells left on the Friedrich der Große, and again, in keeping tradition with World of Warships, they have done jack shit in damage. They have hit 2% of all the shells that they fired. And there we go. I think it just doubled its damage output with that one hit on the light cruiser Tallinn. One hit. Good lord. Fritjof is probably going to be the first battleship that I lose. Not really due to flooding, although it's not helpful. Well, actually, it might due to flooding. The flooding has stopped, but I wouldn't be surprised if they open up that hole very soon. There we go, there's more flooding. Once again, Friedrich der Große, point blank range, 4.9 kilometers, misses the Talon. Jesus, these ships are atrocious. There goes the Fritjof. And another salvo gets dunked right into the water in front of the Tallinn. Now, let's look at this from the perspective of the Tallinn. You got a seriously large battleship barreling down on you. You're inside of your smoke. You're only doing what? 20 knots? If that? 14 knots. Here comes the salvo. Oh, okay. That might have been a bit more painful than I was expecting. Putting most of the ship on fire. And also opening up some holes in the hull. Yeah, she might flood. Yep, there we go. That too is actually in line with World of Warships. The Friedrich der Große player, who's done jack shit all game, comes in at the last possible moment and sinks one of the light cruisers, which have absolutely no bearing on the outcome of the battle. Sorry, I'll stop hating on the Friedrich der Große players. It's just... in World of Warships it's a bit of a meme. And overall, it's... Well, it's a meme because it's mostly accurate. Where are the heavy cruisers? Oh, they ran out. They ran out of ammunition. Okay, boys. Charge in. We are done screening. We are going to make a move. Blue car. If you're going to ram something, at least make sure it's the enemy, yeah? Sight-leads is the leader. You follow the sight-leads, you charge in at flank speed, and you do a torpedo attack. That's the plan. Range 12-3. Which means we're almost in range of that battleship over there. It looks like now the Friedrich der Große is not too happy. But it might just inflict enough damage on another light cruiser to at least recoup some of it. What the hell? To at least recoup some of its honor. At which point I'll probably be using it as a battering ram, because I'm down to 52 shells. Another salvo, completely missing the Askold. Big salvo of damage comes in from the Admiral Sianivin. Did I say that correctly? Seniavin. Askold, flooding, dead. I think that was at the hands of the Friedrich. 44 shells remain. Chance to pen still only 30% and dropping. Because the angle is increasing against the Neutron Mania. Here comes the charge of the heavy cruiser. She did launch her torpedoes. I think the starboard set only. So let's wiggle a little bit and see if the port set also still has some oomph left. Did you already send those out? No, I don't think you did. Do we still have port torpedo launchers? We do. Okay. Where is my battleship? Here. Yeah, I think ramming is a bit out of the question at this point, because she's doing 7 knots. Which is a bit too fast, or a bit too slow to catch the battleships, which are definitely far faster. Okay, they have detected the torps. And they were pretty much ignoring them. Because they're not a threat. Baden, continue on. Sidelights hopefully will reload those torpedo tubes soon, because if she does, I might be able to cause some damage with her. Blücher, don't torp yet. I want to see if I can get at least one half-decent torpedo attack off. Oh, maybe not. The Russians are coming home a little bloodied. But definitely up for the next fight. There goes the side leads. Oh great, and that Blücher is on the wrong side. Have you run out of ammo? Not yet, she still has 4 salvos left. But now I have managed to put the Baden in harm's way. If I want a torpedo. Let's just pull the trigger on those torps. Hope that the Blücher wants to launch those. She probably doesn't. Because... Jesus. Whoa! Was not expecting that. Wow. The Baden was able to sink one of their ships by putting it on fire and causing a flash fire. Wow. Okay. Not expected. I thought that the Russians were going to go home with 3 fairly intact battleships. But it looks like they might not be that intact. I'm desperately trying to turn the Blücher around. Getting another torpedo salvo away, but I don't think she'll be able to do that before she floods. Come on, turn, 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 turn. Nope. Still, Rostislav might catch one of the stray torpedoes here. Maybe even 2. Yep, she ate 2 torpedoes. Friedrich der Große is out of ammo. What? No way. That's the second flash fire, and the second battleship goes down. Guys, we're not supposed to be this effective. Did the Russians suddenly start popping like corks? What the hell is this? Okay, Friedrich. How quickly do you think you can turn? That's it, huh? That's it. Almost a killing blow comes in from the Neutron, and then from the other side we got the Rostov. The Friedrich is still fighting back with one last salvo from her 15-inch guns and the 6-inch guns, which are still operational. I still have Baden and Württemberg, but they are dead slow. We still have some ammunition left, though. Maybe I can still get some damage in. There goes the Friedrich der Große. Which, and that'll be the last pun, which as an absolute clown showed full broadside to the Neutron Mania. Full salvo hits, no damage. 5.7 and pretty much nothing for the rest of it. Now their battlecruiser still has plenty of ammunition left. Their heavy cruisers are also coming back to fight. The Pallada is still fighting, but the Archangel Mikhail for some reason is not. Maybe she's not too satisfied with her chances to hit. Engine damaged, rudder damaged. No, sorry, not rudder damaged. Fire and flooding. The rudder could be damaged by that compartment over there. More fires. Torpedoes? Who the hell still has torpedoes? Oh, the Archangel. Archangel Mikhail still has torpedoes. Right. Sneaky, sneaky. Okay, I officially have lost all hope of any chance of getting kills on the last battleship, because I ran out of 15-inch shells. And now it's just waiting for the Baden and the Württemberg to sink. When they do sink, there will be nobody left to go home and start complaining about what the hell happened to the design of these ships, because they'll be dead. And considering how poorly these ships performed, I think the Germans will want to sweep this one very far under the rug. Because these ships are an absolute disgrace. To be used in peacetime as cargo ships, to be used in wartime as battleships. And it turns out that as they failed as a battleship, they won't have to perform the other role either. They're not likely to be a cargo ship. Structural integrity of the Baden is 0.3%. And she's flooding. Massive amounts of damage to the port side of the Baden. Turrets are very steeply angled. But then again, those won't fire. The 6-inch still will. From halfway submerged. Come on. Make it quick. That was the Baden. And then the Württemberg. This battle actually took me 2 hours. That's how long these ships survived. For a terribly armored battleship, I consider that quite a feat. I had expected these things to go down way, way, way sooner than they did. So this is impressive. This is quite impressive indeed. What are we trying to hit? The battleship with the 6-inch guns. Yeah, right. Well, we might hit it. But unless we suddenly trigger an ammo detonation or a flash fire, I don't expect the Württemberg to take that ship down. Not quite. Oh, torpedo. I think the Württemberg has slowed down so much since the launch of those torpedoes that they just don't stand any kind of a chance to hit me. And unfortunately for the cruisers, that was the last torpedoes that they carried. The Rostov is going, you know what, you guys got this, right? I'm out of here. She's not even trying to fight anymore. At a range of 20 kilometers. The Rostov has nothing to fear from my battleship. Nothing. What she should be doing is charging in. Sure, she has minimum bulkheads, but she also has a pretty sturdy armor belt, which is more than enough to sustain 6-inch shell fire. So in this case, what the Rostov should be doing is just charge in. Because I am not a threat. Anyway, I'm going to leave it here, because this is just waiting for the Württemberg to get sunk, and that's really not that fascinating to watch. Again, as a personal request, if you haven't wished Tristan good luck yet on his boot camp, then please do so in the comment section. Just write something nice to a random stranger on the internet. That is my one ask of you for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit like. If you're not subscribed, then why the hell not? Just go ahead and do it already. And I shall see you guys tomorrow for Taskmaster Tuesday. See you guys then.